you need to stop looking for the finish line. Because there is no finish line to life, and you are never going to find it. And I'm saying this because I lived my life looking for a finish line for a very long time. And I see pretty much every single human on this planet doing the exact same thing. There's so many that think that there's going to come an outcome, there's going to come a situation, there's going to come something into my experience of life where finally everything makes sense. Maybe you are currently finding yourself on the healing path, where you recognize that there are some things within me right now that needs to be healed in order for me to move back into my authentic self, into my true expression again. And then you might think or expect that once that job is done, that, wow, now everything in my life is going to make sense. Well, that is the biggest fucking lie ever. And even the healing journey never ends. It's always going to be a part of who you are. You're always going to have things coming up within the body that needs to be released, that needs for you to go through. That is never going to change. That is just part of life. And there's no measurement to it. Obviously, over the years as you do this, you're going to recognize that, wow, I'm a totally different person, right? But that is always going to be the case. We're always growing. We're always growing like a tree. We're always growing like any other sort of thing that exists in nature. We're just as much a part of that. And there's no finish line to our own evolution and our development. And as long as you keep searching for that, the funny thing is that you kind of stop yourself from truly also being in the process of growing, because it's almost like you can stop yourself, you can pause the growing when you deny the growing to take place, because the growing that you're always going through is or has a lot to do with allowing it to first take place. And we as humans have an ego that can get in the way and that can make it so that we don't allow the universe to do the work. And I've talked about this in a lot of my videos. And that is when we find ourselves with all of these problems that we're manifesting into our experience of life, right? We notice that there's bad relationships. We're pouring all of our energy into something that is not giving us the results that we want to. And there's a lot of frustration and so on, and that is because of the rejection of that work that the universe wants to do for us, right? That must come first from our own awareness that allows that work to take place first internally within ourselves. And I started this video talking about, that you shouldn't look for the finish line. Because looking for a finish line, looking for an outcome, that's only the ego. It's only the ego. That is what is looking for something to happen. Because as long as it's attached to the matrix of reality of something finally going to occur, that is a distraction mechanism that is taking you away from the present moment, of the joy of being alive right now, the joy of just being and existing right now. You're never going to fully tap into that as long as you're looking for something to improve your experience of life. Because everything happens first internally. Nothing happens first externally. You're manifesting your reality based on what is going on here, and you're experiencing your reality based on what is going on in here too. Even if you get the thing that you want. Let's say that you want a lot of money, and then you get a lot of money. You want to feel differently in here, right? You're never experiencing something outside of yourself. But most people are, of course, unconscious about all of the things internally that makes it so that it's a little bit uncomfortable to exist, because we grow numb to the body over the years as we don't allow certain things to exist within us. And then we find ourselves in these patterns of looking for a finish line, thinking that I continually need to heal myself before I'm ready, thinking that there is something that has to be done, while not recognizing that I'm just an unconscious character at this point that is living my life in a way as to be distracted and disconnected from the present moment, from the body, from the emotions that I bury deeply within me. It's all It's all there. And it's the cause for me thinking that there is some outcome to occur. While at the same time, I'm being unconscious or unaware of the fact that there is never another moment than right now. Everything that I've ever searched for exists right now. In the form of allowing myself to live in the present moment as it is. That's the secret. And as long as there is a finish line, as long as there is somewhere to get to, you're never going to connect back into this moment that is right now. Which is also, funnily enough, what we're all searching for. Just to allow ourselves to exist right now as we are. You know, there's a lot of people that are also searching for happiness. You're always supposed to be happy. You know, that's another thing. That is not how the truth of this world is. Like, you're never always gonna be happy. That's not the case. There's always going to be a little bit of stress, a little bit of, I shouldn't say stress, but like, there's always going to be lower emotions coming and going. And that's beautiful. There's something really, really beautiful about that. And we need to stop acting as if that is not something that we're supposed to be experiencing. Because that is also the source of the deep truth of the source of the problems that we're going through. That we don't recognize that even the lower energies is something to be grateful for, something to be accepting in, and to recognize that, fuck, I'm alive. This is part of life. If you're thinking that you should be happy all the time, you're rejecting the universe. You're rejecting God, consciousness, whatever you want to call it. You're rejecting that to enter into you. Because you're saying that the world should be in a certain way. I should be in a certain place. I should be making a lot of money. I should be successful. I should have what these people are having. Like, no, fuck that. You're supposed to be right here, right now. And as long as you're attaching yourself to these ideas about what it is that you should be doing with your life, you're always staying away and missing out on the point of what it is that you're going through right now. You're denying the natural flow of things to kind of take over in your life. Because as you tune more deeply into the present moment, through the acceptance of the present moment and everything that's uncomfortable and a little bit iffy, you'll realize or just recognize that, fuck, through this process, I can also tap more deeply into states of love and joy. Because as you numb yourself and the body to some of these lower emotions, because you believe that they shouldn't be there, then you also numb yourself to the good. And there's actually a very interesting process of how all of this works. So basically, when you're living your life unconsciously, you become more addicted to dopamine things that triggers from the different sort of addictions that you develop, from perhaps the food that you're eating or whatever it is that you are doing. And that is something that over time numbs the body to its natural emotional state, right? And this comes from the rejection of those lower emotions. Like, no, I don't want to experience these lower emotions. I'm gonna eat a little bit. I'm going to stimulate my body, and it senses more and more and more and more, and you numb the body more and more and more. And at the same time, you also numb yourself to love and joy, pure joy and love. And the more that you start allowing in the true version of the universe into yourself, you start realizing that, fuck, I'm supposed to feel a little bit ashamed. I'm supposed to feel a little bit guilt. I'm supposed to feel uncomfortable right now. And then you sit through it, and then eventually it goes away, because it never stays forever, right? It just moves through you, and then it releases. And then, as you allow yourself to go through that, you also connect more deeply to love and joy. And when you're more deeply connected to love and joy, that also reflects in the personality. You start speaking up for yourself. People start reacting differently to you all of a sudden. They're like, shit, this person is different. What happened to him? Because you are not afraid anymore to perhaps go after what it is that you want to do, because you're so deeply connected to your own sense of self-love and self-worth. But first, through the act of just accepting the universe as it is, you stop running, you stop looking for things, you start making the change happen in your life first internally. Because that's where everything starts. You have to move back here. If any of the things that you want to happen in your life is actually gonna happen, it starts within here. And the sooner that you realize that, the sooner you can make it happen. If you want to start this process, I of course have my 30-minute subconscious success course that you can check out. It's totally free, and I also have my coaching calls, and I'll leave a link down in the description, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you for watching today. Bye.